Embedded in his hand is a microchip that serves as his keys, his ID, and his wallet.
All right, it says we live. Bear with us. Let me check the feed. Shalom.
Shalom.
All right, we live. Hey, shalom out there.
Shalom, shalom.
There we go. All right, we live. There you go. All right, hey, shalom. Jim and Charlotte back at you with another live lesson through the Holy Spirit, the Rakak Kodash. And before we get started, we want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakak Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught us the truth. Shalom to the hopeful elect. All right, we're back out here to bring it out. This is a news and prophecy, digital IDs, in the prelude to the Mark of the Beast system. Be ready. All right. So we're gonna get into that. This lesson shouldn't be too long. All right, but it was a major announcement that happened. I want to say a couple of days ago, and was it Britain, of them pushing that digital ID system, which we have the video here. We're gonna play it. Let me pull it up. All right, but before we play it out, get Habakkuk 2 and 1 through 3 real quick, and then we'll jump to that Sirach 39 and 1, and we'll get into the video.
This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 1, and it says, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry.
Yeah, you can speak on it, bro. We'll break it down.
Reading back from the top, Habakkuk 2:1, it says, I will stand upon my watch. All right, because ultimately, the men of the Lord, the prophets, have been dispatched, to essentially, look out with compassion and mercy, unto the nation of Israel. With right. 2/3, they're not going to take heed to the compassion and mercy. The 1/3 is essentially going to take heed of the mercy and compassion, and use the grace period, to their benefit. But it says,
that's right.
I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. Because the scriptures say in 2nd Ezra, 9th chapter, it goes into, measure thou the time diligently. And how that's done is stand upon that watch. And a part of that is lining up biblical prophecy with current events. All right. That's right. It says, verse 2, and the Lord answered me and said, write the vision, which the vision is talking about the prophecies. It says, make it plain upon tables. That word for plain goes into the Hebrew word ba'ar, which it shares the same word as a well. And the thing about a well is, you essentially dig up everything, before you made that well, and pretty much present it forth. So to say the same thing with prophecy, essentially dig up everything about a matter and push forth, what ultimately is the truth of the matter,
Yeah, beautiful. That's why it says that he may run if there readeth, right? Mm-hmm. That you may get the understanding and tell someone else,
Yep. So it says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak. We've done videos going into, how prophecy won't disappoint, because prophecy has an appointed time, it has a specific time that's going to happen. It says, but at the end it shall speak, and ultimately, the vision is speaking, these prophecies are speaking, because when someone speaks, you feel the vibration of their words, the whole world is feeling the vibration of these words going out, for example, we're going on into the M0TB, essentially, with that, with this system, just different videos are surfacing, on social media and stuff like that, going into the digital ID, how example of how it's speaking is because everybody's is feeling the squeeze,
This is how
if people don't have that digital ID, they're going to make it to where people can't shop, people can't have jobs, people are not going to be able to essentially participate in society,
Yeah, that's it. Like I talked about. Oh, so like I was just adding a point of me talking about the overwhelmingness of prophecy. All right, because you know the spirit of prophecy is what's flooding the earth right now in the end. All right. So as I talked about in the lesson, you know, there's a heightened awareness of, you know, the end times, the destruction of Babylon, the pressing forward of the mark of the beast, this chip. All right, because you got people, like you said, all over social media and TikTok or whatever, Instagram, whatever. They're all going into Revelation 13, 16, and 17, breaking down the M0TB, man. Right, but that's a product of what? Of the vibration of the prophets that have gone out, the vibration of prophecy. You know,
Right.
you got it out.
Finishing out, Habakkuk 2 and 3, and the latter says, and not lie, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. You know, so essentially the prophecies, they got a specific time that they're going to happen. All right, and just as it says in the scriptures, in Isaiah 42 and 9, it talks about how, you know, the former things have come to pass. You know, new things are coming forth. Behold, before they come, I tell you of them. Roughly paraphrasing, going into prophecy. You know, each thing in prophecy that has been prophesied has always came to pass.
That's right. Beautiful, man. Beautiful. All right. One more before we get started. Isaiah 34. I mean, Sirach 39 and 1, and then we'll get into the video here.
God, this is Bon Sirach. So Bon Sirach, chapter 32, or excuse me, 39. And we'll get verse 1, and it says, but he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient, and be occupied in prophecies.
Yeah, and be occupied in prophecies. That's what it's about. It's all about the spirit of prophecy, man, which is speaking, which is flooding the earth. All right, which can't be overlooked. All right, that's why this is a big deal. Going into this digital ID here, let's pull it up, right? Because all this is just a prelude to the M0TB system, all right? And brothers have been going in on it, all right? Latest news.
Centralized ID, like the Brits card, will track everything you do. So when you check in to the GP surgery, the government will know. When you make a payment, when you log into a website, when you get on a train, imagine a digital record of your daily life monitored by both public and private entities. Your movements, your choices, your health, and critically, your opinions. This is not hypothetical. This technology exists. It will be easy to implement. The motivation to make it happen exists. And the right pretext, I don't know, another pandemic, a financial crisis, a spike in online hate speech, you will be told this is all for your own good.
The police will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording, watching and recording everything that's going on. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on.
When you come to government and what government's doing, there are artificial intelligence tools, and some of them I know that Oracle have developed around financial management for government. But also, tell us a bit about because you're right at the forefront of this revolution, what it means for what government should do in terms of its digital infrastructure, digital ID centers and so on.
All right, so real quick, so what we see in the screen here, all right, digital ID, it says the man behind the digital ID. The digital ID push is Larry Ellison, owner of Oracle, CBS, CNN, and soon TikTok. He wants data centralization and total surveillance, all right?
Reporting everything that's going on.
When you come to government and what government's doing, there are artificial intelligence tools, and some of them I know that Oracle have developed around financial management for government. But also, tell us a bit about because you're right at the forefront of this revolution, what it means for what government should do in terms of its digital infrastructure, digital ID data centers and so on.
How do you take advantage of these incredible AI models? And the first thing a country needs to do is to unify all of their data so it can be consumed and used by the AI model. You have to take all of your healthcare data, your diagnostic data, your electronic health records, your genomic data. And in the Middle East, in the UAE, for example,
and everything he's saying is tied to this picture here on the right. All right. That chip is going to contain all of that. Your biological data, all right, your health transcripts, your ID, your bank account, health insurance, all right, your so-called digital footprint. All right, this is where it's headed for all you deniers out there. All right. No more dancing around it, as we talk about, man. It's no more playing games. We here, and now it's time to get ready. All right.
Here.
You have anything you want to add in there, Ak? Okay, Con.
Model. You have to take all of your healthcare data, your diagnostic data, your electronic health records, your genomic data. And in the Middle East, in the UAE, for example, they're incredibly rich in data. They have a lot of population data. The NHS in the UK has an incredible amount of population data, but it's fragmented. It's not easily accessible by these AI models. We have to take all this data we have in our country and move it into a single, if you will, unified data platform. So we provide context. When we want to ask a question, we've provided that AI model with all the data they need to understand our country. So that's the big step. That's kind of the missing link. We need to unify all of the national data, put it into a database where it's easily consumable by the AI model, and then ask whatever question you like.
So you're really, through the use of this, you're revolutionizing the way government works, right? The services it provides, the way that it operates. What about things like financial management, procurement? How can AI help a government operate more efficiently, more effectively, give a more direct and better service to the citizen?
Well, we have these modern financial systems. So, countries can, and all. For example, the AI system will help you do that. But again, the secret is to get all of that data in one place. Without having the basic data, it doesn't have it cannot answer the question about your country. I think countries are very uncomfortable with keeping their data in other countries' data centers. So I think part of our essential infrastructure, just like airports obviously need to be in our country, or they're not terribly useful. Ports need to be in our country, they're not terribly useful. Data centers, because of the privacy requirements around the data, need to be in our countries, or they're not terribly useful. They need to be in our countries, but they also need to be secure. And there are new technologies right now. This is the last year you will ever log on to an Oracle system with a password. Next, by the middle of this year, well, how do I mean, I'm quite certain you are Tony Blair. And so how do I know? Well, I look at you, I hear your voice, I listen to the kind of questions you ask. I'm pretty sure you're not synthetically created in having this conversation. The security system, we have biometric login. The computer recognizes you. It recognizes your voice. It might ask you to put your index finger on the return key. And we're absolutely certain it's you. There's no reason to enter a password. In fact, passwords are too easily stolen. Data centers and data is being taken hostage all over the world. The ransomware business is a very, very good business. It's getting bigger and better every year. We tend not to talk about it because the American FBI has a simple advice to someone whose data has been ransomed. Just pay them because there's nothing we can do about it. But there is something we can do about it, not after the data is stolen, but before the data is stolen. We can make sure that we're using the latest security technology, and it is going to be biometrics assisted by AI to make sure that you are, in fact, Tony Blair, and I'm sure you are. Now,
man, see, so no more physical IDs, no more passwords, and no more physical cash, right?
And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this parliament. Just spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that. There's these pragmatic, fair-minded people. They want us to tackle the issues that they see around them. And of course, the truth is, we won't solve our problems if we don't also take on the root causes, looking upstream to tackle poverty, conflict.
Man, it's going down. All right. You got anything you want to bring out? If not, let's hit that Job.
Okay. Did you want me to finish that bouncer out too?
Yeah, if you got some more in there, go ahead.
Okay. I'm gonna get this Isaiah real fast.
You got
it's
it.
Isaiah 36 and verse 6. It says, "Lo thou trustest in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to all that trust in him." You know, and essentially, you know, the staff represents, you know, the authority, you know, that rulership, essentially. And when we go into the scriptures, Egypt represents bondage, you know, because you got 2/3 that essentially abide and confide in Esau, Edom, you know, and just by default in doing so, they're going to suffer for that. I got this in the commentary as well. This is Isaiah 36 and 6 in the commentary, and it says, "You are trusting in the staff of this broken reed, Egypt." It says, "Strangely, Rabshakeh could see the truths of Egypt's weakness better than many of the leaders of Judah could," you know, which I was talking about at that moment. But it says Egypt made its one attempt to redeem its promises, and its army had been beaten at El Teke. The Rabshakeh had himself seen this, but his words are more far-reaching and damaging, exposing the criminal stupidity of Judah's leaders. Surely he said they knew that anyone who ever trusted Egypt suffered for it. And that's essentially, you know, what's going to be the demise of Jacob, you know, trusting on the shadow of Egypt. They're going to trust in a place that's not really going to help, you know, because, again, by default, that's going to lead to, you know, 2/3 taking that charagma, and by that, they're going to be destroyed.
That's right. That's right, man. Matter of fact, we can get into that real fast, too, because that's kind of the point on this lesson that I wanted to bring out here about those bowing to the beast system. Let's pull that up. Go to Revelation 13, and let's read verse 8.
It's Revelation chapter 13 and verse 8, and it says, all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of the life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world.
Right. So it says that all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him. All right, meaning these people that are not part of the elect, if you will, are going to bow to the beast. Right. It says, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. So I have pulled this up in the chat GPT here. All right. Just to see some to get some jewels out of that, some gems, right? So let me make it a little bigger. Hold on. Okay, so it says the scripture I put in. So it says the response I got, it says Revelation 13 and 8 is a heavy verse. It's packed with prophetic meaning. Let's break it down carefully, right? So it goes and reads the scripture. So it says, number one, context in Revelation 13. So this chapter is about the beast that rises up, symbolizing a powerful world system. Okay, and what's coming into play? This new world order, right? It says, symbolizing a powerful world system and leader under Satan's authority. Verses 1 through 7 describe this beast receiving worship, power, and authority over all the nations. Verse 8 explains who will follow the beast. Verse 2, it says, all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him. This doesn't mean literally every single person worldwide because the faithful elect will resist. Woo! See that? It has Revelation 13:7, Revelation 14, 1-5. It says it means. Matter of fact, before we read on, go to Romans 11. Just to add on to that point, Romans 11 and verse 4. We'll come back to that just to add on to what it said in that description.
This is Romans 11. You want me to get verse 3 or verse 7?
Verse 4.
So Romans 11 and verse 4, and it says, "But what saith the answer of the Most High unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal."
All right. So the Lord has reserved 7,000 men. The number 7 just means completion. So the Lord has a complete number of men, all right, which ultimately represent the elect, that it says who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. And the modern image of Baal is going to be that chip, man. Right? Those that don't bow, that don't take the knee to that chip in the system that's coming to pass. Right? So let's go back. You had anything you want to add up? Okay, so let's go back to the point. Again, it says number 2, all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him. It says this doesn't mean literally every single person worldwide, because the faithful elect will resist. It means that the majority of the world's population will give their loyalty, obedience, and worship to the beast system. See that? Because people are going to submit. All right, when there's no more use of cash. All right, like we talked about at Kent. Hey, I got to eat. I got to feed my family. I had to do what I had to do. All right, so there's going to be a lot of those excuses and justification on why they submitted to the beast. This is why I said again, you got to be ready. This is the battle that's coming, man. You're going to have to make a choice, right? It says worship here equal not just bowing physically, but giving allegiance, conformity, and trust. See, and these are the ones that are going to be sanctioned for destruction. Okay. Number 3, it says, whose names are not written in the book of life. There are 2 groups. Number 1, those written in the book of life, God's elect, the chosen, the faithful, right? That's going to be that 1/3. Number 2, those not written, the unbelieving, deceived, and rebellious. The book of life represents God's eternal record of those who belong to him and will inherit salvation. Yeah, go ahead. You got it.
Okay. What's synonymous with that said, the 2 groups right here. I got, it says the 2 foundations, and this is Matthew, the 7th chapter and the 24th verse. So it says, therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man that's going into the elect. It says, which built his house upon a rock. All right. And that house being an actual man, you see, and then that rock is Yahweh Shai, which that rock represents a true foundation, stability. It says, and the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. It had true stability, a true foundations, because ultimately that goes into the different adversities that's coming upon the planet Earth. The elect is going to be covered. The elect's going to have stability.
That's right.
Verse 26. And everyone that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man, which built his house upon the sand. And the thing about building a house on the sand, we already got the example when we was younger. You build the little sand castle, and then the rain, or not the rain, the wave will come in to sweep it right away. So same example as here. It says, and the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. So ultimately, those that didn't have that true stability, when the times of trying come, when those different adversities come, they're going to be swept away because they didn't have a true foundation.
Yeah, that's it. Yahweh Shai was in the foundation. See, and that's why, as the scriptures say, Isaiah 33:6, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time. So when these things hit, all right, the elect, as I said, the God's elect, the chosen, the faithful, are going to have that stability in mind when that time of testing comes. Right? Can you add Revelation 3:10 real quick?
Okay. This is Revelation chapter 3 and verse 10. And it says, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation.
Yeah, the Lord said, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation. All right, so he's going to preserve his faithful elect. Okay, keep going.
What shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth.
Yeah, so this is part of that hour of temptation that's going to come upon all the world. So right now, what are we seeing? We're seeing London, right, being introduced to a digital ID system. Okay, which is all the prelude to the mark of the beast. Because as he was saying, he was going into no more passwords and all of that. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find that image by itself.
Right, pretty much bringing in, Esau's a cunning hunter, so he's very crafty, so just going into that, like they're using the means of, the banks and stuff, they got hacked, a year ago, people losing their passwords, people lose their wallets, so they pretty much trying to lure the people in with the means of conveniency.
That's it. Like you said, no more pass. He said this will be the last year that you'll use a password. All right. Over there in Britain right now, because of the digital ID that's being implemented, you're not going to be able to use a physical ID card. You see what I'm saying? Then it's going to move to what? No more use of cash, because the gradualism they gave you, they basically took cash away and gave you the credit and debit card. Then you had like the Apple Pay, scan your phone and all of that. Read your barcode, and eventually it's going to be tied in that chip. Where all you're going to do is scan your forehead and your right hand. Okay, so it's a gradual effect of how they're pushing the masses to pretty much accept this this chip. You see, so going back to my point I was making here, bear with me. All right. Oh, let's go back to the Chat GPT. All right. So last part. So let's read it again. It says, number one, those are written in the book of life, God's elected, chosen, the faithful. Number two, those not written, the unbelieving, deceived, and rebellious. The book of life represents God's eternal record of those who belong to him and will inherit salvation. And can you hold 2 Thessalonians 2? And where it talks about how they would believe a lie. The Lord will send that delusion, right? Finishing it out here. Number 4 says, of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. The Lamb is Yahushai, called the Lamb of the Most High, John 1:29. Slain from the foundation of the world means, in God's plan, Yahushai's sacrifice was determined before creation. 1 Peter 1:19-20. His death wasn't an afterthought, but the centerpiece of salvation history. It shows God's foreknowledge and purpose that redemption through the Lamb was always the plan. And last part, it says, meaning in plain terms, this verse says, when the beast rises in power, the whole world will follow and worship it, except those whose names are secured in the Lamb's book of life. Heavy, right? As we read that Romans 11:4, the Lord has preserved 7,000 that won't bend the knee to the image of all. It says God's people are preserved because Yahushua's sacrifice was already ordained before the world began. Man, you see? It says this verse is both a warning. Most will be deceived, right? Most will be deceived, and assurance, and in assurance, the elect cannot be lost. Okay, and then last part here, in short, Revelation 13:8 teaches that the majority of the world will give allegiance to the beast system. But the true elect, chosen in Yahushua before the foundation of the world, will not be deceived because their salvation is secured in the Lamb's sacrifice. Man, that's heavy, man. See that? And that's those that are covered in the blood, man. You see that? That are not going to bow the knee, that are not going to submit. So that's heavy stuff there, man. Get that in 2 Thessalonians for me out.
Start at verse 8. You want me to go to the point?
Yeah, you can get to the point. You know, wherever you feel.
Con, this is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 9. And it says, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved.
Yeah, many people are going to perish because of deception, man. Many are going to fall victim to the beast system, to the pushing of this chip. Okay, because as you see, you know, you're going to have, we talk about it a lot, but you're going to have, like, you know, celebrities and entertainers push it. You know, it's going to be pushed as a form of convenience, as you said earlier. People are going to, you know, regard it as just a simple piece of technology, not knowing the spiritual implications behind it. All right, that's gonna entail whether you delivered or you are destroyed, man. So people are gonna fall victim to that delusion, that deception. You got it out.
And for this cause, the Most High shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie.
Yep. Yeah, because right now the people are going to buy into the fact that, you know, you get this device, because what have they been pushing? You get the device, you'll become more intelligent, right? You know, it's an upgrade in society. You know, humanity is you know, moving to the next level. You know, all those things that people are going to buy into. You know, you got it.
Con. Verse 12, it says that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness.
So a lot of people are going to be condemned, okay, because they didn't want to take heed to the truth. All right, they didn't want to take heed to the prophecies, man, to the understanding. So many are going to be led astray. Many are going to be led to their ultimate destruction, as it tells you in Revelation. Let's get that real quick. Revelation 14. Because what are the consequences for those that take that mark? Right. Let's get that in what is it, Revelation 14. Right? Say again.
Verse 1.
Verse 9. I got it put up here. You can read it for me. And it says what? It says, doom for the worshipers of the beast. Man, you got it.
God, Revelation 14 and verse 9, it says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image, and receive his charagma in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation.
That's right.
And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb.
Keep going.
And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receiveth the charagma of his name.
Yeah, so that's the end game for those who submit and take that mark, man. All right, the Lord is going to lead you to taste of the second death. All right, so as we read in 2 Thessalonians 2, that's the that's the result of those people falling into that strong delusion, that they will, like I said, that they will believe a lie. Okay, so this thing is coming in hot, man. All right, the end is upon us. You know, the end of how's it go? The end of all things is at hand. Therefore, you know, repent and remain sober. Roughly paraphrasing, man. You know, you got anything you want to add out? All right, let's grab Psalm 140. All right, get Psalms 140 and read verses 7 and 8. All right, because the point again that we're expressing in this lesson here is to be ready. All right, to be ready for that great day of testing, that great trial that's coming. All right.
This is Psalms 140 and verse 7. It says, O power of the Lord, the strength of my salvation, thou hast covered my head in the day of battle.
Yep.
Grant not, O Lord, the desires of the wicked, further not his wicked device, lest they exalt themselves. Salah.
Yeah, further not his wicked device, unless they exalt themselves, man. And this wicked device is going into this man's new world order, man, and ultimately, you know, chipping the world so that he can exalt himself as the most high over the planet Earth, over the people. That's the ultimate goal of the elites of Esau, man. Right, but the Lord is getting ready. So he's getting ready to throw a wrench in their plans, because as we see this right now, we're at that height of his sufficiency. But it tells you in Job, get that in Job, the 5th chapter, about how he disappointed his enterprises, the crafty.
God, this is Job chapter 5 and verse 12. It says he disappointed the devices of the crafty.
Yep.
So that their hands cannot perform their enterprise.
Yeah, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. Their enterprise is to have the whole planet under that chip, right? But this shows you again. So all you believers is watching. This shows you that, look, we are very close to the end of this thing, literally. All right, you got the Lord and the angels in the heavens. All right, you got things that are coming towards the earth that they can't describe, and you got the signs of the times. You got the inner turmoil that's going on in America right now, the shift, the transition of this police state, the military forces being beefed up, Jacob's trouble, okay, all these different poly crises that are happening right now. So everything is leading to the ultimate end of Babylon, man. Okay, so there's no denying that, again, that our salvation is nearer than we believe, man. Okay. We're right there. We're literally at the doorstep, as I always talk about, man. Right? Let's get this too. I got one more I want to add in there, and then I want to just play this last video and we'll wrap it up. But real quick, I had in the scripture. Oh, Revelation. Let's get Revelation 13, and let's just read 15 through to the end of the chapter.
This is Revelation 13 and 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
Yeah, so this is all part of the of that beast system. All right, this is that new revived, Roman Empire system that's being implemented. This technocracy here, man. And it's speaking, all right, the digital ID, the chip, the social credit scores, which we'll play that in the end here. All right, all these things that have just been announced in Britain are getting ready to come here. Right? Read on. And if you don't submit, what did it say? That because that many that would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So as he was talking about, you're not going to be able to participate in the in society if you don't have that digital ID, if you don't have that chip, if you don't become part of the Internet of Things, if you will. Go ahead.
Verse 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma in their right hand or in their foreheads.
Yep.
And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the charagma, or the name of his, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name.
There you go. So you're not going to be able to buy and sell, and you're not going to be able to have participate in society without that charagma. All right, and this is where the world is headed. Okay, so again, the spirit of prophecy is overwhelming, man. We are so close, man. You got it, bro.
Revelation 13 and 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
Yeah, it's the number of the beast, for it's the number of men, the men that sin, the Edomites. It says in his number is 666. All right, child size stigma. All right, which is pretty much the overall, tracking system, surveillance system, this beast system that's coming to pass. All right, and all the mechanisms tied to it. Now, again, before we wrap up the show, okay, because the point is to be ready for this. All right, we're here. I want to play this again because hey, this is what's getting ready to be pushed now. All right, let me pull this up. And if you want to add anything, God, go ahead.
Con, this is Psalms 21 and verse 11. It says, "For they intended evil against thee," going into the NWO. It says, "They imagine a mischievous device which they are not able to perform. You know, so they're not ultimately going to be able to fully get their NWO, you know, off and running. You know, they're going to chip a decent portion of the world, you know, but they're not going to touch the elect.
Yeah, shit. Shit, bro.
Everywhere she goes, Oh Young Hallyu is followed. What she buys, how she behaves, is tracked and scored to show how responsible and trustworthy she is. It's called the social credit system, and in one version now being tested, a person's reputation is scored on a scale of 350 to 950. And Hallyu, with a good score of 752, is okay with it. In fact, most people are.
It's a mechanism like pushes you to become a better citizen.
It's big data meets Big Brother, expanding how the government monitors, understands, and ultimately controls its 1.4 billion citizens. Thanks to advances in artificial intelligence and facial recognition, and a web of more than 200 million surveillance cameras.
Are people bothered by privacy concerns?
We think the lot of camera keep the safety is really good. We can accept it.
Companies are experimenting with the algorithms to help the government create the new national social credit system. The government also has pilot projects. In one, citizens are required to do hours of unpaid work to get benefits. And scores are docked for things like littering, a messy yard, gossip, even jaywalking. Video of offenders is shown on the local news. And information collectors like Jo Ai-Ni are paid to report on their neighbors. Her quota, 10 entries a month. Like the man who carried a drunk person home. A good deed, she says. Good social credit gets rewarded with perks like cheap loans and travel deals. But a bad score means public shame and worse. Huang Hui-jun lost a court case and didn't pay. Now he's on a government blacklist. I can't buy airplane or train tickets, he says, and the list goes on. Being discredited makes it hard to get a job or put kids in top schools. The social credit system will go nationwide next year, and few here are willing to criticize it, something that may pose a risk itself for a bad score and the life that comes with it. Janice Mackey-Frere, NBC News, Beijing.
Someone wearing glasses that look like these could be using AI to look you up in real time while you're getting coffee. Let me explain. So Mark Zuckerberg thinks that everyone is going to be wearing smart glasses in the future. He's betting that these will become the next iPhone. But what I'm about to show you is actually the biggest threat to his vision. So two developers, Anfu and Kane, created these glasses that can identify strangers on the street and pull up their personal info instantly. As you can see here, their prototypes use facial recognition and public databases to display someone's identity, address, and other details right there in the wearer's field of view, all without the person even knowing they've been scanned. This isn't just sci-fi anymore. It's possible right now. Imagine walking down a busy street and every pair of glasses you pass by could be silently looking you up, accessing your name, where you live, your phone number, and even your family members. Your face essentially becomes a public ID card, broadcasting your personal information to anyone with the right technology. And I will say these Meta Ray-Bans are the best hardware product ever created that use it. And the AI software for these glasses will continue to get better, but that is both the upside and the downside for glasses as an AI hardware product.
A doctor inserts the microchip between your thumb and index finger using a device similar to a syringe. Now, these chips can actually be really helpful tools, and they utilize the same technology used in phone payments. With this tiny device, your body essentially becomes a contactless key. It can open doors using sensors and can even start a car. They last anywhere from 10 to 20 years and can be removed with a small incision in the skin.
Access to buildings and paying for coffee is now as simple as a touch of your hand. A microchip implanted beneath the skin gives people the same capabilities as dozens of cards and devices, and it's not as painful as you might think.
What was once confined to science fiction movies,
Maybe a little uncomfortable. Just implanted a radium diode. They have the access codes to your drop spot.
is now reality for a bunch of Sydney tech heads.
Pay, open doors, and have my business card in there as well.
Remy Baker and Mitch Hunter from PhD Media are being microchipped to simplify their lives.
My work pass and potentially my Opal, which will allow me access to my office, to use the printer, to use the scanner.
We won't need any ID cards, we won't need any PIN codes, we won't need any
The microchip, which is the size of a grain of rice, sits under the skin. Data from your bank card, payment method, building swipe, LinkedIn profile or medical history is cloned onto the chip, which is implanted in the hand. Using the same technology as tap and pay cards, the chip can then be used to open security doors, pay for a coffee, use public transport and access information you've programmed onto the chip.
This technology also has the potential to save lives. Steve has loaded medical data onto the chip in his hand. So if he was found unconscious, all you'd need to do is get a phone, tap it on his hand, and you'd have access to medical data like his blood type as well as any allergies he has.
For those concerned about privacy, the user controls what data is made available. Visa says it's possible for any device to become enabled for payments, but the chip would need to meet Visa's security standards and be issued by a bank.
There you go. All right, so if we here, be ready, man. All right, you got anything you want to add up?
No.
That's it, man. So, hey, pray this quick lesson was edifying. We're going to close it out by giving all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught us the truth, and shalom to the hopeful elect. Hey, shalom. Shalom.